Shout out to Javier. Yeah.
Oh, bro.
I was in bed.
Shout out to Javier. Yeah.
Oh, bro.
I was in bed.
Man.
Well, I'm glad you joined. I know your views are going to be different. I'm prepared for it.
Yeah, I was in bed. Let me see if I can turn this thing down.
So first of all, what are your views on Joe Rogan? Other views I don't agree with. So first of all, I want your opinion on Joe Rogan.
Well, I know Joe Rogan couldn't have possibly said the N-word more than I have in my life, so who am I to judge? I mean...
I'm gonna mute myself.
I mean, let's be honest here. We talk about equality and we talk about treating people like we want to be treated, but yeah, we want to make exclusive rules that only that certain people can abide by while others can't.
Can I ask you a question though? Not to cut you off. Have you said nigger or nigga?
I just said both. I mean, I don't necessarily ever, when I was younger and everybody was saying it, I never stopped to ask myself if I was saying it with the A or with the ER at the end. I just kind of said it however I was saying it. But I think intentions matter. What you mean behind the word when you say it is the most important thing. So if I came up to a white person, I called them the cracker word because I was trying to be derogatory, that's different than Eminem calling himself a cracker. It's like Joe Rogan probably got more niggas than I got. If we being honest. I mean, like I say, he got 11 million people that follow him. So I'm guessing out of 11 million of them people, at least 1 million of his niggas.
Okay. So let me give a little disclaimer before you continue. I'm gonna get to these comments. Younger said fear is not a factor for him apparently. Hey, make it make sense. He said Joe is an a-hole, period. So I have Javier up here. He's somebody I follow him for a long time. I think he just subscribed to me.
I just hit 3,000 subscribers tonight, so I'm feeling good.
Congratulations! I met Javier through Lamar. I don't agree with Javier and his views. Javier is a conservative atheist, which it seems like an oxymoron to me. But I know he can probably explain
What's
it.
going on, Javier? It's your boy Javier Javier with the Javier Javier Show. Make sure you say it twice. All right, so I want to first start off by giving an apology to Dax because I have scrolled past your video so many times. We're gonna find out today. You just dropped the song, Eminem remix to Venom, and a couple people just kept saying, react to this. So that's what I'm gonna do.
A million to one billion. Too hot to be in the kitchen. I'll end up melting the ceiling.
Hey loves, hope everyone's doing well. This is Javier. That's good to see you. I'm glad you're doing this with me. I appreciate you being here.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
I just watching all of your lives and me being on your Patreon, and to me it was worth getting into with the Patreon because like YouTube's gonna shut you down either way. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't when it comes to YouTube. There's a lot of things that you talk about that are not only not accepted in the Black community, but it's also not accepted anywhere else. So having those tough conversations, to me, it's worth utilizing your platform as far as Patreon, because at least you're not getting censored. At least you're able to say what you're going to say. So I was just, glad that, for me, it was worth, putting in the money, because at least I can get a little bit of a more sense of who you are, like not holding back. And to me, that's what we need. We need more people that are not going to hold back, because to me, that's the biggest issue right now with society, where not only are we afraid to step on anyone's toes or walking on eggshells, we got a bunch of people that are extremely sensitive. We got people that you can't really say anything. You can't say literally absolutely anything. So tell me, how did you get into how did you become an atheist? Like, what was that conclusion for you, as far as atheism?
Definitely a long journey. How y'all doing? I'm Javier Javier. Nice to meet you. Long journey. I was a kid from the projects. Basically grew up wanting to be the biggest gangster I can possibly be. Prison was in my future. I thought that I would have a bunch of kids from a bunch of different women. That was what I did. That's what I desired. I assumed my life would turn out that way because that's what I wanted. And that's what I idolized growing up. And I ended up going through this hard, long road of incarceration. I got locked up for an armed robbery charge and possession.
Okay.
Yeah, I was always in trouble, back and forth, in and out of the cop cars, probation, over and over, locked up, get out, go back to jail. And at the age of 15, I caught an armed robbery charge, ended up being sentenced to 5 years mandatory in juvenile. So I got out when I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were young. You were young.
Yeah. And I'm currently 29 right now. So
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll be 30 this year. But so how I got into became an atheist. I never really knew what an atheist was, but
most people don't, most people don't.
Oh yeah. And I am somebody who I'm an extremist at heart. Just like I said, I wanted to be a gangster. I put everything I had into it.
Right.
Yeah, and it was the same thing when I was a Christian. Like when I became a Christian, I became a hardcore Christian, very fundamentalist. I was walking around the juvenile detention center, beating up kids who decided that they wanted to be a different religion than Christianity. I mean, I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was that guy. I was like,
definitely an extremist. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to pray so hard that the earth shakes. That's the type of guy I was. And so I would read the Bible, and the Bible would tell me things like, seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. So I took those things literal. So I decided I needed to learn as much as I could possibly about God so that I could best be the best servant that I can possibly be. And I started learning theology from a theologian who worked at the university where I was locked up at, and he started teaching me. Yeah, he started teaching me the translations between Hebrew and Latin and Greek, and things of that sort. I was reading the Bible every day. I read the Bible 4 times, front to back, page by page. So all of this started making me doubt my faith. It wasn't something that I I don't want to believe in God anymore. It was more so, the more I learned, the more this doesn't make any sense to me. And so I kept fighting it. Was like, maybe I just need to have faith. Maybe I just need to ignore these things that I'm learning. I got all these questions. Nobody's answering my questions. So I eventually got out, and I ended up going to this cult church where basically the church was very cultish, where the men had to dress a certain way. The women had to dress a certain way. The women were cleaning the pastor's house. There were, you couldn't work anywhere with like liquor. And to make a long story short, me and the pastor had a falling out because he wanted me to do something that I wasn't willing to do. That went south, and then I decided to look for God on my own. I started watching debates between atheists and Christians and Muslims and Jews, and I started watching all these guys debate. And then it dawned on me that the atheist made more sense to me. And that's when I came to the realization that I no longer believe in God.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting because I too have read the Bible 5 times throughout my lifetime, and it's like taboo in the church because you're told you're only supposed to read what they tell you, right? So to me, like, religion was more so in my eyes, because I grew up Catholic, but I was also, I came from a satanic background. A lot of people know that. Those of you that are new, yes, I did come from a satanic background, unfortunately. And I do say unfortunately because a lot of people see Satanism as glamorized, and I came from the not so, glamorized part. A lot of torment, a lot of torture, a lot of trauma. And to this day, like, my mom is in denial, and that's okay. There's, again, not much I can do about that. That's not on me. That's between her, and she believes in God, and she's to me, she's more like churchy. You know what I'm saying? So I consider it holy woly because people go back and forth. People do. They consider themselves holy woly because they go back and forth. A lot of people I consider are agnostic because if you look at the statistics, it's 95% of people that do believe in God, but it's not the God we think. So people believe in a higher power. People believe in something else, and that's okay. But again, people are afraid to talk about it because you'll get quote unquote canceled, or you'll get scrutinized, or you'll get harassed, or you'll get maimed or tortured. People are going to be like with pitchforks coming at you. That's just how our society is right now.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like against the Catholic Church that you're not supposed to read. You're not supposed to read it from cover to cover. And I'm like, why not though? It's a book. I don't understand why I can't read it cover to cover. If it's a book.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point of having it there?
Right. It's man-made. Is it not man-made? Like, yeah, some stuff God has in there, but the majority of it is man-made. So I don't understand why I couldn't read it from cover to cover. Yeah. And, having gone through what I had gone through with the SRA, with, I can't talk about a lot of the stuff. A lot of the stuff I have to keep like hush hush. But if you want to do like a Patreon, going on your live, we can talk more in depth if you are interested in like the whole satanic part. I can do that.
We could definitely set that up.
I can do that. But I too struggled with a lot because I remember going through what I went through and just asking God, why aren't you helping me? Why aren't you, like, what is this? Like, am I supposed to be tortured for the rest of my life? Am I supposed to feel like I'm worthless for the rest of my life? Because when you're sex trafficked, that's how you feel. And as much as, men and women want to praise porn and want to praise human trafficking, because let's be real, a lot of people do. A lot of people praise it. Like, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But in reality, there's a dark side to everything. Yeah. There's always going to be, and I don't know how, like, what level you are or what spectrum you are in your atheism, but there is the war between man and God. It's in everything. It's in every aspect that we utilize. And some people that are atheists, believe in nothing, and then some people just have like certain perceptions. Yeah. So I don't know where you're at.
Yeah, I can try to clear that up. I'm not on the spectrum of there is no God. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that anybody. If I would tell you that there is a God or there isn't a God, that's me making a claim that I can't back up. Okay. I can't prove to you that there is no God. But all I can say is I don't have sufficient evidence to decide if that God exists or not.
Right.
Until I get enough evidence to convince me one way or the other, I'm just going to live as if there isn't, because apparently that God does exist. He would make sure that I knew he existed, or she existed, or it existed, however.
Right. And again, we can go, I can't really say much. But we can go more in depth on Patreon. I do talk about it on my podcast because that's like the only, like Anchor is the only, to me, Anchor and BitChute are the only real platforms that aren't really controlled yet. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm going to put yet there because a lot of people are utilizing that to be themselves. Like, let's be real. Like, we can't really be ourselves. We got to like hush hush, or we got to say certain words, or we can't, like, otherwise it's like, the pain in the ass.
The way I see it is the trend has been there's less and less and less that you can say that you used to be able to say. So I'm on the mindset of get it all out as you can right now.
Exactly. That's exactly what I've been telling people. Like, watch what you do. Like certain behaviors on YouTube are getting too much for me. Like, it's just, I'm just rolling my eyes. It's like, you guys are falling for the trap. You guys are falling for, you know, a lot of the brainwashing that's happening. It's pretty obvious. And you guys are falling for the distractions. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, it's to the point where, like, people are like, well, you need to do this. I'm like, I'm not doing shit. Nobody listens anyway. Why am I wasting my breath? I don't have much time left on this earth. Why am I wasting my breath on people that don't even care?
Exactly. Yeah. So you saw me on the candy shop. I noticed that was one of the clips that you played earlier.
Yeah. That's how I discovered you, because I went on her channel. I forgot why. What got me on her channel? I think she was recommended. I think she was recommended, and I clicked on it, and it said, I forgot what because her title is different than yours, and it was talking about Joe Rogan, and I'm just trying to get a bunch of different opinions on this, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a firm believer in not only researching, but I'm a firm believer in people telling their stories. I don't care what background you come from. I don't care if you've been in prison. I don't care what background you've been from. Unless you're, you know, I'm going to be against, obviously, the only people I'm really going to be against are people that are pedophiles, obviously. I mean, I'm just being real with people. They know me. They know I don't play.
I got you.
But if you're hurting like kids, or if you're hurting other people, that's where I have an issue. But I'm not a judgmental person. I usually can give people a chance. I don't care what background you come from. And people appreciate that about me, that I don't, like, it doesn't matter where you come from. Like, I've had people that were in prison that were in for murder, okay? Different things, murder, armed robbery, whatever. And people will say, well, I can't believe you're not judging me. Who am I to judge? I don't know your story. I don't know what caused you to have that background. I don't know what trauma you went through. I don't know what you went through. I'm from the projects too. I could have been very well me. Exactly. I was a very angry teenager. I was an angry kid, let alone by the time I was a teenager, I was done with life. I'm done. I give up. I don't care what happens to me. I didn't care how reckless I was. I didn't care what happened to me. The only difference is, and I'm going to have to talk about this eventually on my channel, but I ended up getting court ordered. I could have gone to prison for something that I did, something reckless, and I blacked out. My psychiatrist at the time said that it was inevitable. I was blacked out. I disassociated, which is just what happens with people with trauma. And my psychiatrist told the individuals that it happened, he's like, I warned you. She has been violated. I told you, if something happens between you guys, I'm out. I am not in it. I am not involved. So now we have a situation here because this isn't her fault. So I could have gone to prison. They could have thrown me away, right? Wow. But the judge said, I had to stand in front of the judge, and the judge said, I don't want to throw you away. I feel like not only is this not your fault, he's like, I went through your records, I went through everything as far as your psychiatry, your therapy, all of that. It's like, this isn't your fault. And it doesn't make sense to put you in a system where they're not going to care at all, and you're going to deteriorate even worse than you already are. So to me, I'd rather give you a chance. You have however long I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it takes a year. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I need you to get it together. I need you to get better. I need you to heal. Find a reason to heal. Find a reason to get better. I don't care if it's, not talking to your family for the rest of your life. I don't care if it's whatever you have to do. I need you to get better. Yeah. And I ended up in a group home, and I ended up, it took a while. I fought a lot because I didn't realize I had so much to unravel. I couldn't talk about it. And I speak about it on my channel and my podcast. I was ashamed of, what my father had done. I was ashamed of what my family had done for years. I couldn't talk about it. Yeah. Couldn't talk about it. I don't know any, daughter that would be open to that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's humiliating.
I find
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I find the people who are the most insightful, the people who are more open to having conversations with people, regardless if they agree with them or disagree with them, are the people who actually really been through some crazy stuff, you know, been through some hard stuff in life.
Mhm.
Because having a conversation with other people is nowhere near as hard as some of the things that you had to go through. You know,
Exactly.
I can tell by just some of the things you said, and even though you're not giving every detail about what happened, it's like to sit here in front of somebody who've been through those types of things and those struggles, to see you having a YouTube channel and speaking your truth and having other people around to talk to. That's a success story, and you're paying that forward. And
that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that gives me strength. It's like when I'm out there and I'm having these conversations with people, I have to remember, like, there's other people watching me, and I don't know their struggles. I don't know the suffering they've been through.
Exactly.
And, yeah, they might be counting on me to say the things that they can't say, or they wasn't able to say. So that gives me strength, you know. And I know that I didn't know when you first hit me up that you were actually blind, and you're blind and deaf.
Yes.
I had no clue when you first hit me up, and when I found out,
well, most people don't. Most people tell me, "Oh, you look normal." What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't know what that means. Yeah,
I don't but I was born deafblind, and then I'm actually losing my vision and hearing. So it's a catch-22, and then I also have a terminal illness called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And in America, it is seen as not a big deal. In America, doctors will fight you to the death, and all they're doing is wasting your time, the time you don't have left. It is actually more prominent in the UK. So I have a lot of fellow, I call them lovelies. I have a lot of fellow lovelies in the UK, and they push my channel out there because to them, it's like, a lot of them are like, a lot of people that are disabled, whether you have a chronic illness, whether it's terminal, whether it's just a normal disability, meaning you're not, deathly ill from it. And a lot of people have a hard time with acceptance. It is huge in our community where people can't accept it. They don't want to accept, and accepting a disability is just inevitably accepting who you are. It's a part of you. You don't have to carry it around like a chip on your shoulder. You don't have to carry it around like a backpack. It's just a part of you. It is what it is. Yeah,
you accept it and you get back to living life. And
that's what I tell people. Like the sooner you accept, the easier your life becomes. The more you fight it, the more life's gonna fight you. It is what it is.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective for me. I know people who don't have any disabilities, people who have not suffered or struggled, who will still not put their best foot forward. And just I try to.
A lot of people are stuck.
Yeah,
a lot of people are stuck. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like if some people could just hear your story and see what you're putting forward and what you're doing, they will have no excuse. It's like Exactly. And it just gives me hope. And look, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you 100%.
I appreciate it.
You knock it out of the park.
I appreciate it. Well, I'm pretty sure after this live, however long you want to do this for, I mean, I got time, but I'm pretty sure after this live, I'm going to be, they're going to be like, we need to monetize you. Because I'm not monetized yet. So
really?
Not yet.
You got more subscribers than I have.
The numbers don't matter. Oh, it's about the views. It's about the views. Yes, it's the views. Yeah, it's always the views.
Yeah, I know that you gotta have.
And it seems like I have a lot, but yeah, I mean,
4,000 hours is a lot of time.
It is, and people don't realize it. It takes a lot. And me, I sometimes it just depends on the month. Some months, I'm able to do it every week. Some months, it's like every other week. It just really depends on me.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful that my subscribers are patient.
Yeah.
And then if I don't say anything, like if they don't hear from me, whether it's on my Instagram, because I don't have TikTok, I'm banned from TikTok. I speak too much truth. They don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I speak way too much truth. I've tried like at least 3 different accounts, banned from each one. So it is what it is.
Well, I'll rip some of this combo from this channel and I'll put it on my channel and try to get some people to come on over and check you out.
I appreciate it. I've had a lot of people do that, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like who can say no to good conversation? Like great conversation is always a positive thing. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a truck driver by trade, so when I'm in my truck driving, I like to hear the long form conversations in my headphones. I want to hear a conversation that's at least 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours.
To me, it's like if it's too short, then what are we doing here?
Yeah, you just got your feet wet, and it's like
so exactly.
Yeah. So I'm guessing I didn't know. I thought you were like a regular watcher of that channel. When you reached out to me, I thought that you may have been like a fan of the Candy Shop and you constantly watched
I just recently subscribed. Certain people I don't subscribe because if all you talk about, I mean, no offense to people, but if all you talk about is shit that I don't listen to, I don't watch I've never seen an episode of The Real Housewives. I'm not into reality TV. I think the only show that I've ever watched when it comes to reality TV, nobody watches Married to Medicine. Nobody watches it. And it's like, okay, so I don't know what to tell you guys. Like you ask me if I watch something, that's what I watch. That's it. That's the only thing. And other than that, any other reality TV, I don't really watch TV. Yeah. And it's not just the blindness. It's just nothing interests me. It's like I've got too many things. It's for me, it's like, I don't know if it's the analytical part of me, me like having more things to worry about. I don't know if it's like the combination of both, but I'm like more into like, breaking things down as far as like spiritual warfare, like things like that. There's a lot of, YouTube stuff on that. But they call them conspiracy theories. They call them truth tellers, truth seekers or whatever. And I'm like, you can insult me with that. You can try to insult me with that term all you want, but at the end of the day, the CIA made that word. I didn't make that word. We didn't make that word. Mm-hmm. They made that word, so you're mocking yourself basically because I didn't make that word. We didn't come up with that.
Yeah.
So I kind of go back and forth with that, and a lot of the stuff is pretty graphic because they're trying to get the truth out there. And I've spoken with a lot of people that are influencers and YouTubers that put out that type of stuff because they want my feedback because I actually went through SRA and I do come from a satanic background. So I have to have conversations with them. And then I'm also a part of the skateboarding community. A lot of people get tripped out with that one, especially people that are, I call it, you guys are considered sighted. So for those of us that are deafblind or blind, you guys are considered sighted because you can see. So you're the rest of the world. You're sighted. So
yeah,
we're a very small community.
I'm learning something here. Yeah.
Yeah, we're a very small community, and deafblind is even more so smaller. Like we don't even get acknowledged. We really don't even get acknowledged. So that's why I put it out there. It's on my profile. Like everything that I touch, everything has to say deafblind, and then it says, the Ehlers-Danlos. So the V is the type that I have, and then MKS, which is a different syndrome that causes everything. So with the skateboarding community, I have like talked to blind skaters. So I'm not the only one. People think I'm the only one. No, I'm not the only one. It's just that we don't get pushed.
Yeah.
And then people are wanting, like those that are in the blind skateboarding community want me to do the Paralympics. And it's like, that I don't know. I mean, I can't even sustain energy from day to day. Like you guys want me to do extravagant things, and you guys they forget. I don't know how they forget that I'm not just blind.
Yeah.
I have more than one thing.
Yeah.
So it's just
it's got to be something you want to do. If you want to do something,
exactly.
It can't be because other people want you to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that happened a lot when the virus happened because people are not wanting to take the shot, not wanting to do the mask, and they're doing it because somebody else told them to. Do you see what I'm saying? But that happened a lot after 2020 hit, and people don't even see it that way. They don't even like. Oh, I didn't even think about it like that. Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
Nobody's.
It's simple thinking.
Yeah, nobody wants to think for themselves. Everybody wants somebody to do the thinking for them.
Right.
That's.
Let me be lazy. I call it lazy. That's lazy. You're being lazy.
Yeah, it's like life is too hard for me to make the decision, so I rather.
No, it's not, man. That's harder than yours. You don't see me complaining. I'm just still doing shit.
Exactly. You better preach to
them. It's not that hard. You're making life harder for yourself. That's the difference. They're making life harder for themselves so that they have an excuse to have a cop out. That's all it is.
And at least when something goes wrong because you made a decision to do something, you can take ownership for that. And you can.
And oh, God forbid you ask for that. You can't even ask for accountability. You can't. Oh God. Oh no.
Oh yeah, I'm going too far now.
You see that all over YouTube. I'm not taking care of it. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. It's like a plague.
You guys are grown. You guys are older than me. I'm 34 and they're older than me, and they're acting like children.
Yeah, it's a plague now.
And then they wonder why our younger generation has no, what is it called? They have no respect for their own life. Gee, I wonder why.
Exactly.
If your parents are acting like crazies on YouTube or just acting like the people on The Real Housewives, what are you expecting?
Exactly, and they want to protect.
What are you expecting?
Yeah, they want to protect everybody from any harm. They don't want anybody to suffer, anybody to be offended, anybody to go through something hard. That's not reality. That's
not suffering. That's life.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own things that are going on. Everybody has their own demons. That's not something you can run away from. Exactly. You can't run away from life. That's dumb. That's so dumb. Yeah. You can't run. Mm-hmm. I used to be an addict. You cannot run. Trust me. You can't run.
You gotta face those demons. You gotta face whatever is coming your way.
You have to. You don't have a choice. Yeah. It's either that or watch your kids suffer. It's either that or watch the people around you suffer. Mm-hmm. They're suffering because you're choosing to put yourself in that situation.
Exactly. And you can't find a way out. You don't have the tools to find your way out. So it's like you trap yourself in this place because you never develop a thick skin. You never develop.
Right. I'm too sensitive. I can't do it. I can't confront people, or I'm too sensitive. I can't face what's happening. Mm-hmm. Like rehab is no joke. Like a lot of people, I get why people do it like 11, 12, 30 times, before they get better. I get it because
it's hard.
You're facing everything you've ever been through from the time the trauma started. That could be for a lot of people, that could be 3, it could be 5, it could be not only are you reopening those wounds, but it's a lot coming at you. So I always tell people that it's like a bookshelf. I always tell people when they're trying to recover, it's like a bookshelf. So you got the shelf in front of you, right? You're standing in front of the shelf, and every book is every trauma you've ever been through. Instead of having all of that shit coming at you and you're carrying everything, instead of doing all of that, you got to take it one book at a time and then go through it, let go, release it, forgive yourself, whatever, forgive them, put it back in there. And you got to keep going, got to keep going. And as much as, because it can get overwhelming. It can be like, what the fuck is the point? Why am I doing this? Like, just let me get high or let me do whatever I do to numb the pain, the pain, than to deal with, I can't. Instead of saying that to yourself, put everything back. So when you're struggling, put everything back and then just come back to it, because we are human. And I know that you're not supposed to say that anymore. But we are human. We can only handle so much. We can only handle so much. But I did do that for 11 years of my life. I did public speaking, and then that transitioned into mentoring people, and then that transitioned into support groups. And then, the virus happened, and there's a lot I can't do now. I can't do everything in person. So I just do everything online now.
Do you feel like this YouTube experience is therapeutic? Do you feel like it is Not
For
just
me,
for the people who watch, but for yourself as well. Yeah.
for me, it's like a form of therapy.
Yeah.
For me, it's telling everything, and then yes, I do get triggered. Yes, that's gonna happen. It's inevitable. It's not gonna go anywhere. You can't go anywhere. The PTSD literally cannot go anywhere. So it does get triggering. It does get, but then after I'm done, whether it's the live, whether it's the video, I just take it to myself, or my husband will say, because my husband is pretty observant, and he's pretty good at figuring out, okay, is she gonna black out? Is she having flashbacks? Is she? I mean, we've been together 7 years. How would he not know?
I think that's
but
as
he's
long as me and my wife been together. So.
Oh, seriously? Okay.
Oh,
yeah. But he's very good at trying to make sure I'm okay and make sure I'm not. Because to him, it's like he can't tell the difference. That's what he's told me. When you black out, I can't tell if you're dying from your Ehlers-Danlos or if it's just an actual blackout.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that bad. Like, I don't respond. I can't see you. Everything turns literally. It's a literal blackout. I can't see you. Can't hear you. I'm just sitting there shaking or laying there shaking, whichever position I'm in. And he'll just lay there and either sit there or lay there and hold me. And he'll rock me back and forth. And he's like in tears because he can't tell the difference. He can't tell the difference of what's happening. And then he'll tell, because I've had heart failures before, so that's why it scares him. So he's asking God, can just please help her. I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do, help her, or just help me, because I'm trying not to, make things worse for her.
Yeah.
And then I wake up, and then it's like, I see him in tears. I'm like, shit, what I do? Because usually when I black out, I do something like self-destructive that you don't mean to.
Yeah.
It happens with people with trauma. And he's like, you didn't do anything. He's like, you had a fucking blackout. He's like, I feel so stupid. He's like, I feel bad. I'm like, it's not your fault. It's really not your fault. But he does take it. He does take it in. He does. He can't help it. He's like, I just feel so bad. Like, why does your dad have to be an asshole? I said, I don't. I don't know. I don't know, dude.
I think as men, we always want to try to solve everything, even though some things can't be solved. And we feel guilty if we're not able to fix. Right.
Yeah. Well, I never knew, like, before my husband, I never knew there were good men out there. I never knew. Because growing up as a kid, all you knew was pedophiles. All you knew was them using you as an object. That's all you knew. So I didn't trust men for years. I didn't trust men. I didn't like men. I didn't trust men. I dated women before I dated men.
I can see that, yeah.
And to me, it's like it was just easier. If not, they're not predatorial. They're not. Yes, there are women that are predators. Like, let's be real. But the women that I attracted weren't always out for one thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I get you.
So they just wanted a companion, and then eventually it leads to sex. But you just want somebody to be there for you. But
yeah.
like my generation, like, I'm gonna put it this way: my generation, when I was in middle school, they were worried about having sex, and they were worried about being in a relationship, of being in quote unquote love, right?
Oh, yeah.
And to me, it was like I would yell at my classmates. I'm like, we're fucking kids. What the fuck are you doing? We're like 11 and 12. We're kids. Why aren't you being a kid? Why do you need to be in a relationship? We're not adults. What the fuck are you doing?
You were smarter than a lot of other people. And
I was way ahead. I was way ahead of people. Yeah, I was just like annoyed. And then they were like, well, can you ask him out for me? I'm like, well, if I'm doing the work, why the fuck are you even dating? You shouldn't even be dating. Like, come on, you're a child, clearly.
Yeah, no, kids don't want to be kids for some reason. It's like they want to hurry up and be adults, and then when you become adult, you wish you would go back to being a kid and start over.
I mean,
the circle of life.
But seriously, but it was just like with our generation, it was just like, we gotta have sex, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. And then I remember like 2 or 3. It was like the first day of 7th grade. The drama, my gosh! The first day of 7th grade, there was 3 girls that turned out pregnant. I was like, what did you expect? Like, what did you expect? And then they wanted to play victim, right? Oh, well, he did this. You opened your legs. You voluntarily opened your legs. Now you got to face the consequences. This is the shit I've been telling you guys. You didn't want to listen.
I thought you was a prophet.
Like, you didn't want to listen. But I was going through what I was like. I was living a double life. So I was going through what I was going through, didn't tell people. Because I felt like if I would have told the kids at school, they would have tried to profit off of that. And to me, I wanted that separate. I wanted my home life, whatever trauma I was going through, separate from school.
Yeah.
So I wanted everything separate, regardless if it was me lying, regardless if it was me. Because that's how people would, like, in high school would throw it in my face, right? Like, to this day, they throw it in my face of, oh, well, you lied to us, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, call it what you want. I was trying to fucking save myself. I was trying to fucking survive. So excuse the fuck out of me for trying to live, okay? Call it what you want. And then people are like, well, that's not technically it's not a lie if you didn't tell them anything to begin with.
Yeah, I think mainly it seems as if, and I could be wrong, it seems as if you wanted a place to be able to escape. You didn't want to bring all of that with you. And now everywhere you go, it's hanging over your head. You wanted somewhere where you can be, yeah. And I can see that. It makes so much sense. And
but people in my high school had like a chip on their shoulder. So it was just like, well, you didn't trust us. I'm like, can you fucking blame me? You're still trying to throw it in my face. How old are you now? Come on.
What state did you grow up in?
Illinois.
Illinois? Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Chicago, so it was like the west side of Chicago. So it was predominantly Hispanics, and then when we moved out, there was a lot of the Black community that moved in in our neighborhood. So I hung out with them. I hung out with them more because, you know, in the Hispanic community, it's a lot of hatred, a lot of ignorance when it comes to people that are disabled. Like, we are seen as nothing. And I'm just being real with people.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, my family. I mean, my family was just like, it was back and forth. So I grew up basically confused because they were always drunk and high. So when people are always drunk and high, you don't really know who they truly are. People will lie to you and say, "Oh, well, when I'm drunk and when I'm high, those are my real feelings." No, you're bullshitting yourself, because at the end of the day, you don't fucking know who you are. If you're always drunk and high, you don't really know who you are.
Yeah,
like,
some people.
I'm just.
Some people don't want to know who they are. Some people,
exactly.
Yeah, some people just.
So it runs really deep in my family as far as like the drugs and alcohol. I've had uncles that died. In Mexico, it's like you have to go up the mountains, but you have to go in a spiral to get to your neighborhood or to get to your village or whatever. And there's no railings. It's not like here where there's railings and there's protection and whatever, right? So you fall off. If you're drunk, you fall off. So I had a lot of uncles that did that. And to me, it was like, how did that not give my family a clue? Like, you're so drunk that you fall off a fucking mountain and you die? Shouldn't they give you like a clue that, you know, maybe I shouldn't drink because, you know, my ancestors, you know, were stupid enough to drink while driving?
Yeah.
In Mexico, of all places.
That's a
it's
sign,
not safe in Mexico. Come on.
Did you? Did you? So you grew up. Did you visit Mexico? A lot.
Yes, because my dad took me traveling a lot. So a lot of it was for sex trafficking uses, and then a lot of it was for to try to get on my good side. So to try to like make it easier on me, because I was pretty self-destructive at a very young age. They didn't realize that I had an eating disorder, and it ran in my family. So I was pretty self-destructive, you know, at an early age, and it exacerbated after that happened, obviously.
Did anybody ever pay for what was done to you?
Yes, that's why it's called sex trafficking. Because
no, I mean, like, did anybody ever get in trouble? Like, did anybody ever get caught, or did anybody pay a price?
I can't talk about that on here.
Okay, I understand.
Let's just say they got their. Let's just say they got their karma. I mean,
Okay, I got you.
But I can't specifically say
Enough said. Enough
on
said.
here.
Yeah.
But they did. I mean, people want to say that, justice doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the courtroom, is what I tell people. It doesn't happen in the courtroom. But if you're lucky, karma does happen for people, especially when it comes to pedophilia.
It should,
So,
yes,
yeah.
definitely.
So I've been very lucky on that aspect, because it doesn't happen for most people, or for most people that were victims in the past.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were saying, I'm trying to go. We touched on so many fucking things. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I know you were telling me about your visits to Mexico, and
we would go back and forth because my dad was a boxer in Mexico. And I know what that's like. I know what going in the ring is like, and like jumping. It's a lot. Like I feel for like wrestlers and like boxers, because it's a lot of stamina to run back and forth and bounce off of those ring posts. Like it's a lot on you, and I'm like, how the fuck do you guys? And you have like men have a lot of weight on them.
Yeah.
Whether you work out or you don't work out, you have a lot of weight on you. So I can't imagine flinging yourself back and forth on those things. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of like I've done workouts like that where back in the day when I could work out, but I did workouts like that in the ring where you just run back and forth, and then you like do different moves. So we did go back and forth from Mexico, and I think the only person I have that's left is his brother. I think that's it.
So what does I don't speak Spanish or anything. Is it Inspiradora? Is that how you pronounce it?
I'm gonna say it kind of fast. So I know we sound like a machine gun. That's what I've been told. Inspiradora. So it's two different contexts. So depending on where you're at in Latin America. So whether you're in Spain, whether you're South America, it just depends on the context. It means it could either mean inspiring or it could either mean inspirational.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. And then en vivo is live. That's basically what it means.
Yeah, my wife is in college right now, studying her Spanish is her major, so she's actually Spanish. Yeah, so she's always hitting me with all these different words and stuff like that. So
I know 10 languages, so I can understand that. Yeah. Yeah.
You a soldier.
Yeah. Eight if you count the actual languages, but in society, Braille and sign language don't count. It doesn't count as a language. Like, fuck you, it counts.
I mean, I guess
it takes a long time to learn it, so it counts.
Yeah, is Braille hard? Was it really hard to learn?
Not for me, no. But for the majority of people that are like, if you're like, well, can you imagine like being like losing your eyesight or just suddenly losing it? Like some people, like I went to school for the blind and deaf. So for the blind kids, I understood why they were frustrated, because you go there and you're either losing your eyesight or you have the potential to lose your eyesight. So you have to prepare yourself and be independent when you go out into the world, right? So can you imagine sitting there being pissed off because you just lost your eyesight and then you have to fucking learn Braille? You don't want to learn Braille. You're fucking angry.
Yeah.
So I get it. I completely get it. But for me, I've always wanted to learn it. I didn't know, because I knew I was deafblind, but I didn't know as I got older that people that are deafblind, that are born, like, my vision was like 20, I want to say like 20/80 in my left eye, which is the good eye, and then the right eye was like 2100, which is pretty good considering, I'm visually impaired. Well, I was visually impaired, but now I have to say that I'm blind because it's like a medical term you have to use simply because people see you struggling. You have to say that. And I will send you a video. There's a video. If you are subscribed to my channel, that video pops up. It's the very first video on the very first section.
I think
it says day in the life of a deafblind person, that's going to give you a depiction of what I go through, of what I see when I go outside. I pieced everything together. What I see when I go outside in the daytime, in the nighttime, and then how I hear. It's like a little snippet of how I hear. And then me like learning tactile sign language, which is on your hand, because I can't do the regular sign language because I can't see. So that's like the best video I've done so far, because I've gotten so much feedback on that. People were just like messaging me and emailing me left and right. Like, I had no idea that's what you go through. You look like you don't even struggle. You look like you look amazing. Like, how the fuck did she look great? And then she's actually struggling inside. Like, how the fuck are you doing?
You're doing really good. How does it work? I know we message back and forth. Do you hear everything that I write, and then you talk the text? Is that how you work?
Everything is voiceover. Okay. So on your phone and on the tablet, the computer as well, depending on the software you have, voiceover and talkback features. Talkback is for Android, and then voiceover is for Apple. Yeah. It is basically a screen reader. So anything you touch, it comes back to you. That's why it's called the screen reader. That's why it's called talking back, because it's literally telling you anything you touch. That way you don't have to struggle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, did you know that the Apple products that first came out back in the day, when they very first came out, like the MacBooks and the when they first came out, it was just the MacBook back in the day. It wasn't they didn't come out with like the iPods and the everything else that came out later. But did you know that they made that specifically for disabled people first?
What?
Yes, they did. They was specifically for us first. But I found it because I went off on the guy. It was is it Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
That owns Apple. I went off on him because I saw him. He went to our school. He went to our blind school, and I went off on him. And I'm like, okay. And I asked him. I said, am I allowed to ask questions? He's like, yeah. I'm like, are you sure? Because I don't think you're gonna like this. I don't think you're gonna like this question. And then everybody started laughing, and he's like, because they all know who I was. You know what I mean? I didn't hold back. So he's like, go ahead. He's like, I'm open. I was like, okay, we'll see. But how is it? I said, how is it that you supposedly made a technology specifically for us, and we can't afford it? We can't afford it.
Woo! What do you say about that?
I said, and then he was like, I'm sorry. I was like, nah, you heard me. I'm deaf, so you can't do that to me. You can't say that. I'm deaf. You can't do that. I know what you're doing. I was like, you do realize that everybody here is either low income, or we are considered, like, people that are disabled that are on Social Security. We're not considered fixed income. We're considered under poverty, because a lot of us can't even get our own place. We have to live at home.
Yeah, because they have.
We don't make enough. We don't make enough. Yeah. So I'm very lucky to have my own place. But I told him, I said, you do realize that all of us can't even afford our own place, but you want us to afford a software that it's basically what a computer is. It's just hardware. I said, so you want us to basically have something that's $2,000? Not gonna happen.
That's a good question. Like I said,
he couldn't answer it.
You were smarter than everybody
He could not answer it. He couldn't answer it. I'm like, well, duh.
You were smarter than everybody else. See?
Yeah, they were like, why did you ask him that? I'm like, because I wanted to see what the fuck he would say.
Yeah.
That's the point of having a question. Duh, you're curious.
They should have had that on camera.
No shit. Oh, the staff was pissed. They were, why the fuck did you ask him? Like, I kind of would have showed. I already asked it. I can't take it back.
You got any more questions for me? Did you I know you asked me about being an atheist.
I think a lot of the different questions have to do with, as far as like you being in juvie and all of that, is it hard for you to watch like a lot of the younger generations follow that footsteps of I gotta, I gotta be a part of that. I want to be a thug, or I want to be a gangster, or I gotta live that. I gotta hustle. I gotta live that life. Is it hard for you to watch that play out even now? As far as like the community, as far as like younger men of this generation. Because I would imagine that you feel some type of way about that because you got out, but some individuals do feel stuck, where they feel like, oh, I can't get out. I need to be back in there. I can't get out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got best friends who's still in prison. And
do they go back and forth, or they just
back and forth? Like my best friend right now, he served 12 years, and then he got out for a few months, and then he went back. I see one of the things that makes me the most passionate is because I remember while I was locked up in juvenile, there were kids who couldn't even get in touch with their mothers or their fathers. Nobody cared for them. Nobody called them. Nobody wrote them. And they didn't stand a chance. You could see it eating them up inside. They was acting out, but you could tell that it was something more. But I'm not even really necessarily mad or angry or upset about the young people taking that path. I get more passionate and angry when I see adults, when I see people who know better making excuses for it. Put like you got older men who try to recruit young kids into being in gangs and stuff like that. That's what I don't have any sympathy for. That's the thing that bothers me the most is when the people who are supposed to know better are not being good role models to those young people who need it. That's what I'm fighting. Yeah. So that's what touches my heart the most. Is because I felt like if only there was enough people around me holding me accountable and telling me to do the right thing, I probably would have never went down that path. So kids are going to be kids. If you get them the freedom and you allow them to be,
that is true.
Yeah. So it breaks my heart, but I'm more concerned with stopping the adults from helping them repeat it and being a way for them to keep doing it. So that's what my fight is about. That's my major fight right there.
So do you feel like, with men, giving, because I mean, I'm just gonna be real with you. The majority of it is men, that go back and forth, and women in prison is, I don't know. I've seen through both lenses when it comes to women in prison, and I've even spoken at a lot of juvenile detention centers. But it is more men that are reckless, and it is more men that make the excuses. I've seen. And I feel like, when it comes to, with them making excuses and then going back and forth, do you feel like there's some type of trauma behind that, or do you feel like they're just stuck in that spot and they're just stuck in that victim and martyr mentality and they don't want to get out of that? Or do you think it's both?
It could be a little of both. I think coming from poverty, coming from those circumstances, and people always allowed you to make excuses. I mean, it's hard to be the guy who says, regardless of what's going on, I'm going to wake up early in the morning. I'm going to put my boots on. I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to work hard, when you can easily just sell drugs, or when you can easily just, rob people. Or
it is an easy thing to get into. Growing up in the projects, if that's all you know,
it doesn't require any
truly, if that's all you know, then it truly is something that you just. And people that aren't from the projects, or people that are, don't know what that's like, are gonna be a little more judgmental, because if you never experienced that, you wouldn't know. Like, I remember being a kid and having to pull up the windows because the drive-bys that came by. So you literally had to just turn off all your lights, pick up the windows so that it wouldn't shatter if they hit your house, and then drop to the ground. And then once you finish hearing the AK-47s or whatever, they decide to pull on you, then once it's done, then you just go back to normal life. And then people that I've told that to, are white. And they're like, well, oh my gosh, that's you lived a hard life. I'm like, that was our normal. To you, it's hard, but that was our normal. Like we had to go through that like maybe like 5 times a week. If that. We knew the routine. Like it's like a routine. Unfortunately, it's like a routine because you know when they're coming. You hear them. You know when they're coming, and then you hear the low rider, jumping up and down and shit. I can't hear, but I do it by vibration, so I can sense it. Mm-hmm. So like when the car is like by the house or like by your front door, you feel the engine running. Well, most people don't think like that. Most people aren't mindful and aren't just sitting in the moment, and they don't realize it until you tell them. So it's just like being mindful when it comes to being deaf. So I would tell my sister, we gotta pull the windows up. We gotta pull up. She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, just fucking do it. And she's like, okay. So then she's like, how did you know? I'm like, I sensed it. She's like, oh, thank God. Because she was like literally in front of the window. I'm like, pull the window up. And then she was just like, wait a minute, how the fuck did you know? But I was friends with a lot of the gang members. So me being the analytical and, person that I was, even as a kid, I was obsessed with psychology. So I was always trying to figure out why people acted the way they were, why people who were the way they were, and everything that came around that. Because I guess, going through what I went through with my family, I couldn't understand it. Why did they have to repeat history? Why did they have to repeat the violence, repeat everything that they did? Like it made no sense to me. So I guess for me, the psychology of it made more sense to try to understand where behavior comes from. So I think that was like a way for me to like get out of it. You see what I'm saying? Like escape, but in a different way. I get it. I remember like talking to like all of the gang members, and like we were friends with a lot of them. Like me and my sister were friends with a lot of them, and they never gave us any shit. Like a lot of people will say, gang members they're degrading to women, they hate women, they'll kill you, they'll rape you. They never did that shit to us. So I was pretty lucky on that aspect, considering what I went through.
Yeah. I just will hope that there are less and less kids who have to duck and dodge bullets because grown people are shooting at each other outside of their houses.
I know. And you hear about it all the time on the news.
Exactly.
The kid just gets shot for no reason because people are idiots.
Exactly. And I just, as a grown man, I could never imagine putting myself in a situation where I would endanger children in such a horrible fashion. And
it's pretty reckless. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
So
it's something has to be done. People have to stand up and say enough is enough. I mean, there are things that we can do to make everybody's lives better, and it just matters about those people who know better to say what they need to say. A lot of times, I know with social media and stuff like that, a lot of times they don't want you to be able to say what you need to say. But a lot of people have a voice and they need to use it when they can. And
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm a strong believer, and every time I speak up about something, I'm probably hoping that somebody sees it and get the courage to be one of those people that step up to their family, to their friends, to neighbors, and say, yeah, enough is enough, and do the right thing. So that's what I'm here for. That's my whole, ambition, is to get another person to do what I'm doing, standing up and say enough is enough. Let's do better.
So what are your goals basically as far as paying it forward? Because it seems like that's what you're trying to do, is not only pay it forward, but you're trying to get people to get it together.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm a full-time YouTuber because I want to use the extra time. Because right now I work a full-time job. Like I said, I'm a truck driver by trade. So right now I work a full-time job, and I'm trying to do the YouTube and podcast stuff in between. But if I can become a full-time YouTuber, I can dedicate much more of my time and actually getting involved in actually helping people. I want to get involved with the youth, mainly young troubled youth in juvenile systems who committed crimes, who need role models, need strong-minded individuals, giving them good encouragement and teaching them something that they can actually apply in the real world. So that's what I really want to do. And I did it a few times, and then COVID hit, and then that kind of threw the trajectory off because everybody got all antsy about social distancing.
Yeah.
So everybody's more careful about that. So I just had to, buckle down and just do it through a virtual way until I can start doing it more in person.
Right. How do you feel about the whole strike in Canada? Do you know about that? With the whole truckers and all that?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Go for it. Like, I love when people just stand up and say, I'm not going for something. The government job is not to be our parent. The government's job is to do the job we hired them to do. They don't own us. So I'm 100% with it. Like, some people are going to be against it, and that's the freedom to be an American, a Canadian, but it's the freedom to decide on whose side you're on. But those guys, they stand against something. Those women, they stand against something, and they're deciding to do something about it. I can't do nothing but respect that. Yeah.
And then another question I have for you too is that when that happens here, because I'm just putting it out there, but if that happens here, when that happens here, do you feel like everybody's prepared?
I'm more concerned than ever. I don't think people have the will in America. Well, I'm maybe a lot of people do. I just don't know if enough people has the will to say enough is enough.
I don't think. I mean, just not only that alone, but as far as like preparing if shit hits the fan, it's basically a survival tool. So a lot of people don't stock up on food. A lot of people don't stock up on things they need. A lot of people buy things that, to me, are a luxury. Like if you're buying the new iPhone, the new Jordans, the new whatever, they're not really gonna be prepared if shit hits the fan and we have a strike actually here, and then that stops. On top of inflation that we're already dealing with, you're gonna be fucking hungry. You're gonna be fucking hungry.
I'm a victim of that. I buy
and Americans eat like crazy.
I buy weekly, so I'm one of the people that's guilty of that. I'm prepared when it comes to firearms. I'm not prepared when it comes to like.
I wish I could have a fucking firearm. Are you kidding me? Gonna give me a taser? Fuck it.
I know, right? Some mace or something. Just go in. But yeah. I'm guilty of that. I buy food weekly, and I always think about this type of stuff. Like, man, I need a backup plan.
Yeah, the only reason I buy in bulk is because I can't see. I can't drive. Like, if people have an easy access where they can drive, and I can't do that. So I've always bought in bulk.
Yeah,
it's just easier. And then I have me and my husband have like a really strict diet, so it's harder for us to get the foods we need. So gluten-free, dairy-free, like we're both on a really strict diet. He's got, different, issues as I do, but it's like similar. It's kind of weird. Because he is, I've gotten so much shit over the years for our relationship. And it's not so much because it's funny because my family or like my friends will ask, is it because he's white and you're Hispanic? Because I'm not just Mexican. I have a bunch of, different things in me. But I said, the only thing we've gotten shit for, it's not because of our race. It's more so because he's older. So people see it as, oh, well, what the fuck do they have in common? He is 26 years older than I am. So he is 60.
Yeah, happy?
I mean, relationships are relationships. We are, because people act like, people aren't going to fight. People act like you're not going to have ups and downs and you're not going to have issues. With him having, we both have PTSD, and with him having, autism, me being deafblind, it's going to be tough. It's going to be complicated. It's going to bring shit out. And people that are normal and have normal relationships can't figure it out. So I
wouldn't even call them normal. I think you're better off than a lot of these people who would consider themselves normal.
I consider it normal because, and I know people hate that word. But I consider it normal because y'all don't deal with what we deal with. Y'all don't know what that's like. So to you, it's normal. You guys got normal. You don't have to deal with pain every day. You don't have to deal with, struggling with your eyesight because like one day your eye, it's day by day, literally. So I might have dizzy spells. I might have, different things. Y'all don't deal with that. Y'all get up, do what you got to do, and then go to work or, take care of the kids or get the kids off to school. Like, y'all have your things that you can do easily.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are normal take shit for granted. Like, you guys can get up and go. We can't do that. We can't.
You're so right. You're so right.
We can't.
Humans have a hard time putting things in perspective. Like I said, they just don't.
A lot of people do, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
and you can't change what you don't acknowledge. You really can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Yeah. Y'all doing anything for Valentine's Day? Y'all doing anything?
Basically, an indoor date. I got the table set up. And he said he's gonna, get me flowers today. That way they don't die. But he's always been that way. Yeah. We already I got the candy early, so we ate the candy already. Fuck it. The fuck are we trying to fool? Who are we trying to fool? Anyways, I got the decorations up. Everything's in the living room, so I got the decorations up. It's like little hearts, and it's like dangles. And then I got like pink lights that light it up, so it makes it look like more presentable. Oh, yeah. And then we're gonna be having dinner, and then a friend of ours is gonna go get the dinner, and then we're just gonna eat it there, and then spend time together, and then like watch movies or whatever, and then we do like a playlist of like love songs. Yeah. So like different things. So like country, R&B, rock has certain love songs. So we just like mix it all together, and like on YouTube, we'll play it on YouTube on the TV, and then we'll just dance. So it's just like our own little date.
Yeah, nice.
We've been doing that for years. So
yeah, at least I got a tradition going. Like this is my first time me and my wife actually celebrating Valentine's Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because you're a trucker, right? You guys are never in the same vicinity. Is that what it is? Yeah.
So we kind of just got used to the way things were, but like we're gonna do pretty much similar to what y'all do. We're doing like a surf and turf. So I'm gonna make a steak, and she's gonna make some shrimp. We're gonna make a nice dinner or whatever. We're gonna eat. We got like a heart-shaped brownie that we're gonna make in the oven. We'll put ice cream on. So we got some wine. So yeah, that's
just kick back, relax with each other, enjoy each other, cherish each other. That's kind of the whole point,
Yeah, nice. Yeah, definitely. So, y'all doing that tonight? Are y'all doing that tonight?
No, not until the actual day of. Yeah, so Monday. Yeah.
Okay.
So nice. I'm doing everything today, and then like stuff as far as like cleaning the house, like everything we need to do is done. That way, all we have to do is spend time together. So
nice. Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Because I'm actually going to be doing mine tonight. I probably got to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we should do this again. I think I would love to come back on, especially if I have more time. Or like I said, we could do something for my Patreon if you want, or we could do something.
If you want to do it that way, because I know you have burning questions that I can't answer. You too.
I know, right? I want to do it. I want to do it in a way that you're comfortable in, whatever format that you feel that you're comfortable doing it in. And
I think Patreon would be easier. Your Patreon would be easier because you're asking more questions than more people have ever asked. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to get down to the nitty gritty, and most people don't ask that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because usually the interview is me asking them questions, and then they're nervous or whatever. They don't.
I just love conversation. I just love
exactly. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we could definitely set something up, and it'll be for a small group of people on the Patreon. That way you can talk freely. Even if you don't want to do it and put it out nowhere, we could just talk. And I'll be 100% open for that. I think you're a very interesting person. And
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I would love to see you prosper, grow those wings and fly and be successful in this journey.
That's going to happen soon once I'm gone. So just putting it out there. I know people hate when I have those jokes, but it is what it is.
Hey, it is what it is. I feel you now.
just I know people hate that term too, especially like people that are, quote unquote religious, but I do walk by faith, So
Hey.
I'm just following what his path is for me, and it is what it is. So
Yeah,
I'm not afraid of death, so
that's good. That's good. It's a lot of people afraid of that.
Never been afraid of death.
Yeah.
I can tell you more about that on Patreon as to why I'm not afraid. So
Cool. Any last things you want to get out before we wrap this up? Or
well, if you gotta go, I don't want to, keep you. I don't want to keep you longer.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be late for your date. I don't want your wife getting all upset. Will you get off already?
Oh yeah, but we'll definitely be talking again. And I just love your spirit, and I love.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I enjoy talking to you, and it's
me too. I knew this was gonna be fun from the get go. Once I saw you on the candy shop, looking at all your other stuff. So.
Oh, it's much more to come.
Oh yeah. Well, you have my Instagram, so you can DM me all the time. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. So.
And if you want to exchange numbers, we can do that too. So.
Yeah, I see you got your Powerade over there. You juiced up. You ready to go? Well.
Yeah, it's electrolytes. I need it.
Yeah, I just drank one earlier. I appreciate you having me on and valuing what I have to say, and that just means the world to me. Nobody is too big. Nobody is too small in my eyes.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we all have something to say,
Yeah, definitely. And
no matter how controversial, I don't care.
Yeah, there it is. And I'm just happy you saying your part. You putting your voice out there, regardless. And the more people putting their voice out there, the better that we can learn from. And trust me, you inspire me. You inspire me to keep going.
Well, good that I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
I'm doing my job. That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah. You saw me in my robe on that show. I jumped out of bed so we could have that conversation.
Yeah, that guy was like, I've never heard of taco meat. I was like, oh my gosh, where have you been? I'm like, oh my gosh, taco meat, that's hilarious.
And now here we are talking, so it keeps growing. It just keeps that's the beauty of it. It has
my husband's fluffy too, so it doesn't bother me. So.
Oh yeah.
That's what he calls himself, fluffy. I was like, okay, whatever. We'll call it that. For me, I don't care. Like, people are like, how the hell do you do that? Because I'm really thin, so, and I'm short. So he's like 5'11", I'm 5'1". Oh, so wow. He's a lot taller than me, and he's fluffy. And a lot of women will ask me, how the hell do you have sex with a bigger guy? I'm like, it'll give you something to hold on to. Ask your woman. I can guarantee you. Ask your woman. It gives you something to hold on to ask for them, sure.
There's more than Gatorade in that bottle, y'all.
I wish. I wish.
Well, I thank you, JoJo. I'm gonna get on out of here and go enjoy this nice surf and turf. But we'll be in touch, definitely.
All right, enjoy your steak and your shrimp or whatever.
All right, thank you for having me, and thanks.
All right, no problem.
All right, peace.
Bye. All right, guys. So I did appreciate that. I had just met him, so I was pretty glad that he was able to do this. And it's been interesting finding so many different people to interview, and so many different people to do this with. So I was grateful for the conversation. I am going through all of the comments now. So if you guys are still here, I don't know if everybody's, still here or whatnot. But I appreciate you guys being here, and I will let you guys go because I am getting hungry. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully, you guys got something out of this conversation, something out of this interview, however you guys want to see that. And, hopefully you guys are doing well. So please take care of yourselves and check on each other, especially, with everything that's going on right now. So I will see you guys in the next one, and hopefully I can see you in the next one too. So later, guys. Bye.